Hello everyone, I'm Nitin Rathod. I trying to make a small video on the problem of the farmers' issues. Kisan Putra Andolan has published one of the book we call Anti-Farmer Laws. There are 35 questions has been discussed in this a small book we can say. So we will try to talk to discuss one question one after one. What is the first question? What is the main cause of farmer suicide? This is very important to understand one thing. Immediate cause maybe, but when we go in deep and we try to find out the real reason is very clear, that is anti-farmer law. So which are those anti-farmer law? That is a Land Selling Act, Essential Commodity Act, Land Acquisition Act. Here is a story about Sahib Rao Karpe. The incident was happened in the year of 1986. From the village district Yavatmal, Chilgavan, near the Paunar ashram, along with his family, he had committed suicide at Dattapur. As he had left a note while taking his life, the grave reality of the farmers. After the suicide of the Sahibrao Karpe, peoples are aware about the grave reality of the farmers. He has written a note. In the year of the 1986, 19 March, it was known as the first suicide of the farmer, not because of the government decided, but after the order was issued by court. The first time to submit report on the farmer suicide, NCRB started maintaining a separate record of farmer suicide from 1995, which is recently again it is closed. It is a fact that incident of farmer suicide increased after the 19. The many people start discussing about suicide of the farmer, or the rate of the suicide of the farmer has been increased after the 19. Some people try to blame on the globalization and the liberalization, but it is totally incorrect according to Kisan Putra Andolan. How? This is totally incorrect. Evidence is available. Establishment of that farmers committed suicide even prior adaptation of this policy. But what is the reality? Before the adaptation of the liberalization, there were suicide of the farmer. You can see, you can understand. If you go in history, before the British people, there were the farmer suicide. After the British people, or after the 1947, again there is a continuous farmer suicide in many. But what is the reason? So where we see the highest risk of the suicide in Maharashtra, because in many states the suicide are taking place largely in comparative more developed states. This means that where development took place in a neighboring area, the ability of the balancing trace of the development could not inform the farmers, that it was not allowed to inform the farmers in that area became mostly stress depressed. The Kisan Putra Andolan trying to focus on the one issue where some states are considered as developed, rich, powerful. In that state, we can see the highest suicide of the farmer. Reason because in the area where we can see the development, this is the kind of the economical trace on the farmer. That trace is responsible for farmer to commit suicide. Liberalization arrived actually in India, not in Bharat. The Bharat is remained untouched. The trace of development of India was forced on Bharat. And the farmers could not bear it stress, they were forced to commit suicide. Many people confuse between immediate cause and reason. It is very important to understand immediate cause may be different, but reason is most important. Immediate cause may be different, but reason is the main cause behind. If you dig into the past, only anti-farmer law is responsible, and that is the root cause. Agricultural Land Selling Act, Essential Commodity Act, Land Acquisition. Liberalization means you have to understand, my dear friends. Liberalization means you have to reduce the government interference. But what happened in India? Because of the anti-farmer law, the government gets too much power to interfere every day in the life of the farmer. That interference is responsible for the suicide of the farmers. Therefore, it is very important reduce that power and give the power to the farmers to do their farming as per their own wish. But it is very difficult in India to do farming because of the anti-farmer law after the first amendment of the constitution. That's it. So therefore it's very important to have to understand farmer as individual person, and when you trying to compare agriculture sector and industrial sector, it is very clear difference that there are so many laws, but Kisan Putra Andolan mainly focusing on the three laws. That three law is the main reason for suicide of the farmer. Government need to work on it, repeal it, delete it, make the agriculture sector free naturally so farmer can do their farming naturally as per their wish. That is a part of the lack of the freedom is the reason of the suicide of the farmer.